Apparently, my sound's off the whole time. So let's start that again. I haven't seen the comments. Let's start that again, guys. Sorry. Well, I'm not going to go through any of the promotion stuff. I'm just going to get right to it when it comes to Seth. Basically, there was a video that's floating around, or there is floating around. I took the video. I was there yesterday with Seth. And so I know what he said. I know what he meant. I know the conversations prior to either of those videos being recorded, or even prior to the vigil and after the vigil and after those videos have been recorded. So at this point, I don't have to clarify what Seth Rogers means, and he doesn't have to clarify it to anybody either. But I feel that some of what is going on out there, what's being said about the video, it's like the telephone game, and people are kind of interpreting it in a way that it's not. They're taking one line from it without even watching it. And I think that if you see the full video in the full context, plus the video he did or said at the very end of the vigil, it puts a lot more into perspective. But unfortunately, and I'm just going to be very or very blunt when I say this, if you have a modicum of common sense and critical thinking, you know what he means. But there have been two basic different ways that people have taken this. One of the ways is the comment at the very end where Seth says basically F you. And people are like, well, he's saying that to everybody who's supported him. And no, he's not. It doesn't even come close to that. That's just people looking for a reason to be angry. Now, does Seth have a certain way that's his own with words? Yeah, he does. And you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it, but it's who he is, and he shouldn't have to change, especially when he's got everything going on that he's got. The other thing that I've seen is, how could he team up with the Proudfoots when Chris Proudfoot has gone line and on TV and said everything that he said about abuse of his kid, and why would he want to work with him? So let's get into the common sense of this, and then we can talk about the Proudfoots for a little bit. The common sense of this is that every step of the way for the last 55, 56 days, Seth has been searching for Sebastian, doing interviews, keeping Sebastian's name out there, and we have not seen anything like that from Chris and Katie. What we have seen is fighting on GoFundMes, fighting on searching, fighting on handing out flyers, taking flyers off your car. And how exhausting do you think it must be to be going through the stress of trying to find your child, what happened to your child, have another parent seemingly not be doing anything, plus arguing you and fighting you every step of the way? At what point do you give a little bit, right? At what point do you say, I need this to stop so I can focus on this? And that's what he's doing. A lot of people are seeming to think that calling a ceasefire, a truce, working together means that, oh, they're best friends. No, working together towards a common goal doesn't equate to friendship. What it equates to is I'm tired of fighting and expending energy and dealing with this garbage. So I would rather us come together for the common goal of finding my kid. That's what he's saying. And I think that it's very clear. And I wasn't originally going to play the videos, but maybe I should on this again, play them back to back, the two that he did, because that's what is going on. And I think that either people are just looking for a reason to hate on this guy, which fine. If you don't like Seth Rogers, don't like Seth Rogers. I don't care. He doesn't care. Nobody cares. But if you're going to talk about this case, talk about Sebastian. If that means you're going to talk shit about Seth Rogers, but you're going to talk about Sebastian, I guarantee you he's for that. Same thing with the Proudfoots. Look, I have my biases here. I'm no fan of the Proudfoots. I've made that very clear. But if Seth can see past everything that's gone on up to now to try to work together to find Sebastian and just not have to now spend and expend time and energy and effort in fighting these people, then I'm all for that. And I will help him, convey that message out there. But that's all that it's about. He appreciates every single person. And you don't take my word. I'm going to show it to you. He appreciates every single person that has been out there to search, who has been out there to donate their time, putting out flyers, donating money, donating goods, anything to help get his son out there. Even if it's just you making a post on social media, he does appreciate all of that. Okay. And again, I don't need to come on here and say this for him. He is a grown man. But I felt some responsibility given the fact that I took the video. I thought the video was good. I thought it conveyed his point well. But I felt that it was important to come on here and explain it. So with that said, let me get this pulled up real quick so you guys can see these two videos. So the one that everybody's talking about, if you've not seen it yet, is this one. If I can get it to work. Why are we struggling with this? Let me take this up. Let me take it off and come again. Let me try it again, guys, real quick. Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, restart this. But I want y'all to see what he said. Okay. Here it is. Let me get it pulled up. It's working now. Here's what it said, if you haven't seen it yet.
Me and Chris are putting our differences aside.
I think it's pretty apparent what he's saying. If I need to rewind and let y'all hear it at the end, you can. He's basically saying, stop all the BS, because there's a lot of creators on all platforms. Okay. And I'm not saying that I'm totally innocent of this either, although I try to keep the focus more on Sebastian. But I've also had to spend a lot of times talking about Chris and Katie, talking about Seth, because there are creators on all apps that are sitting there devoting all of their time bringing these people down. And look, I've brought Chris and Katie down, but it's taking the focus away from Sebastian. And that's all he's saying, is that screw the drama between him and the Proudfoots. Let's find Sebastian. Let's keep the focus on him. And if you can't keep the focus on Sebastian, then F off. That's what he's saying. Now, you might not like the choice of words that he did, but those are the choice of words that he had. And that's just the bottom line to that. But again, I think it's pretty apparent, because right before that, let me get this one. Hold on. The wrong one. Here's what he said right before that.
I appreciate everybody's support. Please, people, keep my son in your thoughts and prayers. Should see to find him. You know, his mama wants him back. I want him back. His family needs him back. Keep your heads up and your eyes open.
So you could hear what he said. That was literally recorded at the end of the vigil, probably less than 7 to 10 minutes before he recorded the other video. And if anybody wants to do it and take a screenshot of that and zoom in, because his glasses are kind of dark, but they're clear, you're going to see tears running down his face. And I'm not saying that to make him feel bad or call him back. The man's very emotional. He's running on fumes, and you can get mad about the things he says and the way he says them. But this is a guy whose kid has been missing for almost 2 months. And for the most part, he is the only one that has been consistently looking pretty much every single day. So put yourself in his shoes on that, and think how you would feel, how you would be. And he doesn't care if you don't like the fact that he's made the decision to try to put differences aside temporarily, because again, it's not friendship, it's a ceasefire while they try to find the kid. That's all it is. So people might not like that. You don't have to. It's not your kid. It's not your kid. So if you don't like the fact that Seth has agreed to do this because of the horrible things that Chris Proudfoot has said and admitted to doing, and look, I agree with you, but it's a whole lot easier to temporarily bury the hatchet than continue to have fight after fight after fight with these people. And look, people are asking, well, it's not a really good show of faith for Chris to show up there, have this argument with him or this discussion with him, because it did start out as a heated argument, and then leave. And I can't argue with that. I don't disagree. I don't like the Proudfoots. That's my bias. I'm not shy about that. And I'm not going to give them an excuse. My understanding is they had something else that they had to do that involved something with a family member. And then I have not confirmed, but hear that they were out shopping for new motorcycles. And if that's the case, and frankly, Sebastian should be the first thing for them as well, specifically Katie. I can't make excuses for adult people that are supposed to be this kid's parents. Now, there will be another vigil in about 2 weeks at Long Hollow Baptist Church, and Chris and Katie have committed to being there. And it may be too little too late, but at least Seth is trying. At least maybe they will try. And believe me, I hate giving them any type of credit at all. But I just don't want to see all the focus go off of Sebastian for this dramatic BS, because that's what it's becoming very quickly. Like the fact that I'm even making this video or having to make this video, I guess I don't have to. It's my choice. Is alone. It's problematic. So that's what I got. That's what I got. I don't trust them farther than I can throw them. I'm sure that Seth doesn't either. He hasn't told me that, but I would imagine he's not a dumb man. But again, it's not about being friends with them, besties, going out having drinks. He just doesn't want to fight with them anymore. And you can't blame him for that. That's what I got for you guys. I was hoping that Seth would come on. I had invited him. I know he's got some stuff going on today, so he might not have been able to. But look, guys, social media is a cesspool. I can tell you that. Somebody asked me a question. Let me take a look at this. You can't ask us to set aside the fact that a lot of our eyes are prophets are suspects in our eyes. are suspects with or without it. But that's true. Nix, you're right. I can't set aside my own bias, but I'm going to do the best I can for Sebastian and for Seth because that's what he's asked. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. In fact, I would say that it's impossible to set aside your biases. And to me, the Proudfoots are suspect. I've said it a million times. You don't search for what's not lost. But you know what? Sebastian isn't my kid. Sebastian isn't y'all's kid. Seth's kid. This is what Seth is asking. And that's the best I can do. For those of you who are just joining, the earlier part of this was muted accidentally because I was just kind of so flustered. So if you're getting to it now, my apologies. But that's what he decided, and I agree. There's no way I'm going to play nice with the Proud. Like I'm not going to invite them on here and talk and act like they're okay because I don't feel that way, and I can't hide that, and I'm not going to do it. Now, what I can do is agree not to purposely go after them and talk about them. Like if somebody comes on and says, "Well, why were they out motorcycle shopping? Why didn't they stay at the vigil?" Well, you know what? I can address those, and I will address those when those come up. But for now, I'm not going to go out of my way to do it. We're going to try to keep it on Sebastian. That's what's most important. This child has been missing for a long time now. It is very frustrating because, and I'm just going to tell you all my opinion. I think that if you guys saw about 3-4 days ago, give or take, there was the thing that came out where Sumner County called it in an email a criminal investigation, then they backpedaled on it. No, it's not really. And that wasn't even the first time they had accidentally called it a criminal investigation. And I think that that just epitomizes how this investigation has gone. I think it epitomizes the fact that even on an incredibly high profile case where you would think they should be dotting their I's and crossing their T's and double and triple and quadruple checking things before they even send out an email, would not make that mistake. Not just once, but at least twice. Just one of them got out and went more viral. And I think that epitomizes how horrible this investigation is going. I think my opinion is that they treated this as a runaway child right from the very beginning, and they screwed up and they botched this investigation. And now they're so far deep, they're not able to go back. So they're just going to try to lay low on it to eventually rubber stamp it into a cold case. That's what I think is happening. Seth is doing everything in his power to prevent that from happening. But it's frustrating because that's kind of what went down, in my opinion. You're not getting any updates from the TBI. We're not getting any updates from law enforcement. There's not been a press conference until or since they pushed one, what, about 3 weeks ago, give or take? So we haven't heard another one. I've said this 1,000 times. One of only 2 or 3 things could be happening here. Sebastian ran off, which I think at this point is very unlikely based on the evidence or lack of evidence that shows that. Chris and Katie know where he's at. Or there's a child abductor in this community and they're not telling us about it. They're not telling us whether or not we're safe. So why not tell us something? If you don't think the community's in danger, then tell us that and tell us why. Anyways. At the same time, the petition for the FBI is still going because Tennessee investigations into these cases are very frustrating. If you go to my website, justinontiktok.com, you can Go all the way down to the links, and you will see a petition that you can sign. It may do something, it may not do anything. But Seth is trying to get as many signatures on that as he possibly can in order to try to force or request, is probably a better word, the FBI to take lead on this case. So if you want to go sign that, you can. And here's why I say I struggle with Tennessee investigations. This has been almost 2 months. There's not a single lead. And at this point, I don't think they have any kind of gotcha or Hail Mary or anything in the background. Because if so, we would know that at this point, I would assume, because even Idaho didn't take this long. Okay. Even Idaho didn't take this long. You look at Jennifer and Adriana Wicks, there was just a resurgence in their case, 20-year-old cold case. Layla Santinello, Holland Snaps, Summer Wells. Who else? Joe Clyde Daniels. Who else? There's more. I know I'm missing one. Oh, Riley Strain. They didn't find Riley Strain. They're trying to rubber stamp that one too, even though it's weird. We got a super chap, so they're going to get seen for sure. Elias dropped the ball since the beginning. Had they ran a criminal investigation next to the missing investigation, they would have found evidence of foul play inside of the house. You know what, Lone Wolf? Hold on, I'm going to cough real quick. I couldn't agree with you more. They treated this like a runaway from the very beginning. The house was searched by walking through it, basically calling Sebastian's name. No luminol, no forensics, nothing was brought in to look for anything nefarious. The drains weren't checked. The carpet wasn't checked. The floors weren't checked for any type of, organic material that could have been left behind. None of that. So I agree with you. And I think that it's at a point where it's embarrassing. So now, again, my opinion sounds like your opinion too. But we're at a point now where they're too far deep in this to go back, because what are they going to do? You've had 2 months now for, if there was evidence, if certain people who are involved in this investigation, certain family members, I'm not going to name anybody, I'm going to try to behave myself, are involved, all that evidence could be gone easily, well contaminated, because it's been 2 months. They won't call it a criminal investigation officially. When they do, they retract it. They won't have pressers. They don't give any information. It's frustrating. As a member of this community, it's frustrating. But I agree with you, Lone Wolf Spirit. And also thank you for the super chat. But I agree with you. So, look, I can't tell you how to feel. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. Okay? Have your opinions of these people, whether it's Chris and Katie, whether it's Seth, hell, if it's about me, I don't care. Just keep the focus on Sebastian. That's all I'm going to say. That's what we need to do. So that's what I got. That's what I got. I'll look at the chat for any questions. Somebody asked if they would give to a community reward. Thoughts on that? I think that's a great idea. Let me make a note of that on my book. And I will talk to some powers that be. Sorry, I know I just looked away from the mic. Somebody said they're disgusted by the people asking for their money back. Don't donate them. I agree. Your money's gone to searching. Seth isn't embezzling money. He wouldn't have time to embezzle money. What's he going to do? He spends it searching. He sends it to cover, probably, he hasn't worked in 2 months, to pay for, he's got 2 PIs on this case. Was it Seth's or CP's idea to come together? I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know. What I know is that before I arrived yesterday, Chris was already there. His motorcycle was there. You know, I might have the picture. I could probably show it up. I'll show you all the picture. I talk about it. Okay. There they are. My understanding is before I got there, it was pretty heated. It calmed down. I couldn't hear what they were saying. At the same time, I wasn't eavesdropping because it's none of my business. It's up to them, Seth or Chris or whoever's involved in that conversation. If they want to disclose what that conversation was and to whatever level of detail, that's up to them. Seth is trying to make his life a little bit easier. Anyways, somebody made a comment. Let's look at this one real quick. Go to the super chats. It scrolls quickly, guys. So those are a good way. So you ask us to set aside the fact. Oh, we already did that one. Sorry. Where's the other one? I don't see where it went. There it is. Look what happened in Tennessee with Riley walking right past and speaking to a cop on body cam. Yeah. And we know that Riley probably wasn't in a good way. I'm not even more so with that. It's more so to me with Riley, and that's a different discussion. Um, as to the lack of searching. And again, that's a different discussion. I did something with Chris Dingman the other night. Y'all can go watch that. But it gave a lot of very interesting information on Riley, and I'm happy to have that discussion again. But right now, this is about Sebastian, but I agree with that. If you're a parent, just put yourself in his shoes. He doesn't want to work with Chris Proudfoot. He just wants to find his kid. He's being the bigger person, in my opinion. Somebody said, thank you guys for the super chat. Thank you, servant of God. There's a pic of Sebastian holding a backpack. Do you know whose house that is? He's wearing shoes in it. I've not seen that yet. Let me look into it. And the next time I do a video, I'll have an answer for you. I've been kind of playing damage control today with everything and then working on a couple of videos for this week that are coming up. I just want to see every bit of focus go on Sebastian. That's all. That's all. If they're working together, why was KP not there by Seth's side? Again, I'm not going to talk about it, but I will answer these questions. I can't answer that, and I can't give an excuse for him. Could he have stayed and had whatever he had to do? Could it have waited an hour? Maybe. If it's true that they were out motorcycle shopping while this was going on, then you guys know my opinion on that, and you can formulate your own. But that's not for me to be pissed off about. That's for Seth at this point. But like I said, supposedly if there's another vigil, which they're supposed to be in 2 weeks, Chris and Katie are going to show. Oh, I want to show this one. First of all, thank you again for it, Christy. Yeah. Again, this was before I got there. My understanding is that it was a little bit heated and then it calmed down. Is my understanding. But again, it's about Sebastian. That's what the focus is on. Oh, Seth in here? Hold on, I'm gonna wait for the answer to that. Seth, do you want to just come on? I sent you the link. See if he wants to come on. If Seth wants to come on, he can. I'll keep talking while we wait. See if he wants to. Anyways, we'll keep talking while I see what he wants to do. I texted you the link if you want to come on. But nobody's telling you guys to not have your opinions. But like I said, if you have kids, if you are a parent, put yourself in the shoes that Seth is in. Put yourself in the shoes that you're not sleeping, you're in physical pain. And every time you try to turn a corner, somebody's arguing with you and trying to stop you or fight you or threaten to sue you. Wouldn't you just do what you can to make that stop? I would. Why does he want to exert energy and expend energy and time and effort fighting these people when that same amount of effort could go towards finding his kid? That's what I got, guys. If Seth wants to come on and chat for a few minutes before we go, he can. If not, I'll entertain a few more questions. If Seth can say no, he doesn't want to come on, that's fine too. I mean, what he's going through is a parent's worst nightmare. Because it's one thing, not that it would be better if you had the answers, if the answers were bad, if the outcome wasn't good. But at least you would know. Seth is living every single day in a state of limbo. You guys want me to play the first video again? Which is the first one, Simone? We'll talk about this. The one where he's addressing people or the one from the vigil? Because we got two. I can play them both again for y'all, for anybody who's coming in. Well, they're both with Seth. I'll play them one more time. I can do that. Oh, thank you, Becky. All right, let me put them up. I'm going to share this one for. I don't know which one y'all are considering the first one. The first one that I played was this one. Okay. And again, before I play it, there should have been sound on the first one. Okay. Well, before I play it, just a reminder: when you listen to this, listen to the entire context. Okay, and then we'll talk about it. I'll do it one more time.
Me and Chris are putting our differences aside. It's not about our
was asked tonight to stream the vigil for Sebastian, what their discussion.
Putting our differences aside.
And I'm going to show you.
Me and Chris are putting our differences aside. It's not about our egos. It's about finding Sebastian. Me, Chris, and Katie will begin working together. And if everybody else could just fuck off and put your egos aside, help us find our son. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is the goal of this shit. If you can't get on that, get the fuck off.
So obviously Seth has his own way of putting. Then there's something going on. I recorded that for those of y'all asking. And I think that if you did hear it, or you can go on TikTok and watch it, all he's saying is that they have agreed to call a ceasefire, put their differences aside, and go find your kid. Find our kid. And he's saying basically because of this, because there's a lot of discussions that we had about this prior. Basically talking about the fact that there are so many people sitting on TikTok and YouTube every single day talking crap about Seth, talking about the Proudfoots, and very little of it has anything to do with Sebastian, who should be the main focus of all of this and all of those discussions. And people are saying, like I said at the beginning of this, that I can't believe that Seth would work with these people based on just the things that he said. And you know what? It takes a bigger person than us to do that. And just because, again, he's saying that he's going to put his differences aside doesn't mean that they're friends, doesn't mean they're going to go grab a beer, doesn't mean that they're all buddies going to hang out, watch the game. All it means is he's tired of fighting with them, and he'd rather take the effort and put it towards finding Sebastian. He would rather people, creators, on social media, take and put the focus on Sebastian and not the two of them. That's all. There's a lot of creators out there saying things that they have no business saying. And you don't have to like the way Seth talks. Personally, I kind of like the way he talks. It's no BS. It's real. It's just who he is. And I've got no issue with it. I like the guy. And I've not made any, I've not made that a secret. It's just who he is. That's who he is as a person. You don't have to like it. But again, if you go back and you watch the other thing that he said, which I could probably show you, I don't know if y'all can hear the sound or not. Some of y'all can hear it, some of y'all can't. But basically, at the vigil, right before we recorded this video, this allegedly controversial video that people have made controversial, he talked about how much he appreciated everyone, thanked everyone for everything they've done to help and get it out there. He appreciates people looking for his son. He doesn't care what you think about him. Just look for his son. Just put information out about Sebastian. And again, you don't have to like what he says or how he says it. His kid is missing. So he doesn't really care. If he's got a more colorful vocabulary, so what? I can't make excuses for what the Proudfoots do or don't do. I can't make an excuse as to why they were not there last night. I've heard about the motorcycle photos. I haven't seen them yet. I haven't been able to confirm them yet. But if they were out looking for a bike, if they were shopping at all for a bike before or after the vigil, I can't make excuses for that either. And I'm not going to. Somebody asked if they searched today. My understanding is yes, they did search today. Somebody said, not the impression I had of Seth. I picked up. I'm gonna say this. I think it's a good comment. I'm not picking on you, Kate. I picked up that he did care to a certain extent, socially speaking. Be 60 days in looking for your kid and see how much you care about keeping up a social norm. You know? Where are they searching today? I don't know. I was here today with my kid um, until my wife and her just left. And so I didn't go out to search. So I don't know where they went today. Oh, I love this comment that you just made. If people would put the effort in locating Sebastian instead of talking about it on TikTok and bashing parents and families, in my opinion, Sebastian would probably have been located already. Maybe true. And if you had a police force that you could feel confident in. Anyways, guys, we've been talking about this for 45 minutes. I think that the point's made. You guys know if you see the video in the full context, if you couldn't hear it here, go on TikTok. The last two videos that I've posted, in fact, I'll tell you what the titles are so you can know. I put titles on top of mine. Okay. So one of them, the one that's got the first video, the one where he's telling people to, if you can't get on board with putting Sebastian first, then F off, which I agree with him on. It's titled Seth Rogers had something very interesting to say after the vigil. The video immediately following that, that's called Let's Talk About Seth Rogers Statements. That's the one that shows what he said at the vigil that was recorded and put on in that one. So if y'all want to go see those, Justin on TikTok, go do it. And you can. Anyways, I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate you listening and keeping an open mind. And please just keep Sebastian, at the forefront of your mind. Okay? That's what's most important. Again, you don't have to like what they're doing, but the focus needs to be on the kid. It's been 2 months. Let's not go another month with no answers. It's not acceptable at this point. It hasn't been acceptable up to this point. Anyways, you guys have a great one. I'll probably back on later this evening with another topic. Bye, guys.